Thank you for being here. My name is Wouter van Koten. I'm one of the board members of Stichting GameLab Oost. And I would like to give a warm welcome to everyone who is here, and a special thanks for the groups that will present in a short while. For those who don't know GameLab, GameLab is a creative seeding place in the eastern of Holland. We're now in the heart of Enschede, where our office is. And we like to make games with high social impact. We have a diverse of, can you maybe turn it down the radio? Yes, thank you. Internships. Also, we organize a lot of events, a lot of lectures about the topics. And also we develop the prototypes of serious games and hope that we can develop them even further. But that's not why all of you are here. We're here to see the journey of two serious games and how they are developed. I also would like to give a special thanks to Games for Health and CLLO for being here today, and also being so involved with all the projects. I would like the first speaker to come up here, Sorin. Yeah, we'll be having, we developed a game about cancer and how to solve cancer, but I won't tell any more about it. Sorin, we'll give the floor to you.
Hello. So, hello everyone, and thank you for coming. I'm happy to be presenting the project we've been working on for the past 5 months, and also the game we developed, Garden for Life. To start with, I'll introduce the team behind the project. We're a team of 6 interns, all coming from different places, such as Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey, Lithuania, Spain, and of course the Netherlands. Also, next to us in the photo, you can see our client, Games for Health, and especially Mark, who is the co-founder of Games for Health. And also our other client who is not in the picture, Barry, who is our lead development on this project from Games for Health. Also, in the picture, you can also see Marmendia, the scientist who's been helping us understand the complicated science behind the project, also answer all of our questions when you have questions, and make sure that our project is scientifically accurate. Now, to start with, I'll start with the goal of the project. The first goal of the project is quite an ambitious one: help cure cancer. You may be asking yourself, how are we planning to do that with a game? And I'll get into it a bit later. But first, I need to explain in a short, understandable way the science and how the cancer works. So, the cure we are doing, it's an immunotherapy cure, which means that your own immune system, it's actually detecting the cancer and destroying it. The way that works is almost nearly all the cells in your body have a peptide groove, which is basically a dent in the cell where a peptide comes and anchors itself there. I will get later into what a peptide is, but the important stuff is that this peptide acts as a QR code for your immune system. So when a white blood cell from your immune system comes, it scans this peptide and finds out if the cell is healthy or if it's unhealthy. And if it's unhealthy, it destroys it. The problem with this is that this peptide doesn't always anchor right into, and it falls. If it falls, then your immune system cannot detect the cell as cancer and destroy it. Another problem that we are facing with this project is the fact that algorithms nowadays, even though they have all the available science, they still fail to predict whether a peptide is actually gonna anchor itself onto the cell or not. Meaning that sometimes it can predict that, for example, a peptide, it will anchor, but in reality, in lab tests, it doesn't anchor at all. So that's where the idea of the project comes, because human brains think more logically, especially when it comes to puzzles. If we manage to put this complicated science into a game, people can play it, and with that, we get to the second goal: gather data. Data that will help improve these algorithms, but also help improve the research. Now, for this data to be relevant, we need a large amount of it. That's where our third goal comes in: have a lot of people play. In order to achieve this goal, we did some research onto our target audience. Even from the beginning of the project, we knew that the game is going to be a puzzle game. So we did research into the target audience of puzzle games, and we found out that across all platforms, the people that play these games mostly are women over 30. And we also found out that the games they like are match 3 games such as Candy Crush. So based on this, we started making different concepts for the project. We made a lot of concepts, but we're gonna showcase just a few of them. The first one, the theme was about gems and jewelry, 2 things that our target audience enjoys, and also from our competitor analysis, we found out those games that our target audience likes usually use shiny object and also really colorful colors. So gems and jewelry would fit perfectly for the theme. This prototype also was focusing on the volumetric side, which was our main focus at the beginning of the project, but after that we changed to a more biochemical approach, which means with the properties of the peptides. Now, another one of our concepts was a world builder, where we actually use the properties. Then we also have another puzzle that was based on lockpicking. It was also a volumetric puzzle, so it mostly focused on how do you place this peptide into that groove in a 3D space. But after all of these concepts, we actually came up with a different theme that would fit better the target audience, which is a garden theme. From this theme, we made also multiple prototypes. The first one, a very simple one, also focusing on the volumetric side, where there's just a potato and a worm. Potato representing the peptide groove, and the worm representing the peptide. And you just had to put it in there and position it. But after that, we changed our focus again on the biochemistry approach, where we first made a 3D visualization of the concept we made, but then, because we knew we need to make a prototype for this, we decided to go with a 2D approach because it would be much faster and easier for us to do. So in the beginning, we made some puzzles, made the rules, and we were testing in MiroBoard, which means there was no actual game behind it. You're just moving images around and making the puzzles. After that, we found out that this recipe worked, so we are going to build a prototype for it. The prototype we made was in 2 days, and it was actually in Unity, in the game engine, and everything was working. From the testing with it, we found out that this theme specifically, and also the properties, are the way to go. So this also ended up in our final project.
Now I would like to talk about the process that we took to decide the visual style of our game. And as you can see, we always wanted a more casual and cartoony look for our game that people will be always happy to interact with. First times we tried some designs, Pokemon style, more creature-alike, but at the end we ended up setting up with a more cute and adorable design. Here, as you can see, is the final design for the plants that we introduced in the game. From the beginning, we thought about them as a guide for the 3D artist to implement later in the game, but we love them so much that we introduced them also in the UI itself. And now, the trailer of the game.
Now that you've seen the trailer and got a better understanding of how the game looks like, I'm gonna talk about the game we made. Because the science was quite complex and we also needed a large amount of data, meaning a large amount of people, we decided to split the project into 2 different games in a way. First, the fun aspect, which is just a relaxing puzzle game where that would attract the main target audience to play the game. And then the science aspect, which is a different level that actually introduces all the different mechanics. Also, the first fun aspect serves in a way as a tutorial for the last level, because the players are already have more knowledge about how the game works and what everything means. Now, I'm gonna talk about how do these plans reflect the complicated science we've been following. Well, First of all, you have 20 different amino acids, each of them with different properties. Then you have a peptide. To explain what a peptide is, I'm gonna play a short video that's gonna show how a peptide is formed. In here, you can see two different amino acids. When those two come in contact, a water molecule happens, and now because of the empty space, they are able to do a peptide bond. Once a peptide bond is done, this becomes a peptide. So a peptide is two or more amino acids connected. In our game, we show them by flowers being connected, each flower meaning amino acid. The reason we went with the garden theme and with the flowers is because of the properties of the amino acids. We found out through the research that amino acids are hydrophobics, which means they hate water. Hydrophilics, which means they like water. They also have positive, negative charge, and flexibility. The same way these amino acids have properties, also the plants have needs. Some plants like more water, some plants like less water. The charge negative can be showcased as shade, the charge positive can be showcased as sun. Now, for the game itself, in the top left picture, you can see a photo of the puzzle being fully completed. Technical difficulties. Thank you. Now, in the bottom video here, because we knew that the game is gonna be split in multiple parts, meaning the puzzle level, the science level, and also a garden level where you're gonna design your own garden and also collect stuff, we had to make a main menu that showcases all of them, and also it's relaxing and fun, and feels alive. So that's why we made this main menu where the plants are moving, the wind is there, so it feels real. Also, here on the right, you have a video showcasing the level select of our game. Because the game is made in different biomes, such as forest, desert, swamp, and also night, we wanted to showcase all of them in the level select. And as you can see, the more you scroll up, it slowly transitions into the night, showing the player that you reach the night level. Now, all of these different biomes have different mechanics as well. Meaning, the first one, on the top left, the forest level, focuses on mostly the places where the plants can go. So some can go on water, some can go on sand, some can go on dirt, but also the flexibility aspect of the amino acids, meaning that some amino acids have longer ends, which means they can connect one tile away diagonally, where the normal ones can only connect one tile away vertically or horizontally. Then the desert level, the new mechanic in this one is the fact that you can move tumbleweed around. This tumbleweed occupies a spot. So the increased difficulty is the fact that you first need to move it out of the way. With one tumbleweed, like in the example, is not much of a difficulty, but the more you add, the more difficult it gets because you first need to figure where you are gonna move them. Then the swamp level, which is mostly made out of water, it also introduces two beavers and two trees that you can cut. The difficulty aspect on this level is the choice whether or not you have to cut a tree. Cutting a tree makes the two tiles under it that used to be water the basic tile, so plants that could go on grass now can go there. The idea is you need to think, cutting this tree will help me or will become an obstacle? And in the final puzzle, the night scene, this is where the negative charge and positive charge property comes in. So some plants like to be in the shade, where some plants like to be in the light. So not only that you need to find the way to the puzzle, but you also need to slowly build your way around by moving the fireflies or the lamps.
Now for the ultimate challenge of our project, we needed to make an scientific accurate level where we needed to study the HLA-A2 and the peptide binding groove that you can see represented on dark green color on the left image, and the peptide itself that will be that thin string in the middle on purple color. After intense research, we discovered that the peptide binding groove is not a whole unit and is divided in 6 different pockets. These 6 different pockets will have important amino acids that will give each pocket a different property and a way to connect to the peptide on a different way. For representing this on our level, we exported a 3D representation of the HLA-A2 peptide binding groove that we found on the protein data bank, and we pinpointed these important positions highlighted in different colors representing each of the different pockets they belong to, and then we started building an environment around it. As you can see, each pocket has a different bioma, as we saw in the previous fun aspect of the game, and now each of the highlighted positions has also an asset that will be represented by spider webs, bird's nest, or beehives that will interact with the plants on a different way, giving a nice feedback to the player that this is how it must be done. Now I would like to show you a bit of the gameplay of this level. As you can see now, the tutorials are on a guidebook. You will be able to access to them anytime you need, as this level is a bit more complex to grasp. First of all, we still need to place each plant on the pocket they belong to and the position they belong to, connecting to the different assets with a different range between the plants and the assets. As you can see, we have a bubble that will interact with each of the assets, giving you a distance that you need to match to be able to connect. Another aspect of that makes this level special is the volumetric aspect. Now you are always able also to position the plant in mid of the air. For this, we added a new mechanic that is the balloon. So you can always try to access the positions that are in the mid-sky. The main goal of this level is to try to position all 9 plants on a good range, connecting them each other, but also with the environment. The more connections you make with the environment means the peptide is more stable in the peptide groove and will have more chances to bind. So please, if you have any questions about it, don't hesitate to ask us, and thank you very much for listening. So if there are any questions, please. Thank you. Thanks.
I cannot imagine that you have no questions about this. I think it's really wonderful to see how you can bring such a complex theme to a game where you play, then you can potentially even help cure cancer. Give another applause for the team. It's also good to mention, maybe you've seen them, there are a few computers over there. You can even play the game yourself after the presentations. If you still have no questions, but I cannot believe that, the group will be here. You can ask every question you have. The second presentation, the game journey we took, was together with Sarah Lowe, and how to include people with a mental disability, how to have a social inclusive with digital awareness. I would like to give the word to Liza.
All right, thank you all so much for coming, first of all. We really appreciate it. And over the past 5 months, we have been working on a serious game that's all about social inclusion and digital awareness by helping people with a mild intellectual disability use social media safely and independently. And we even got the really good news that our client we have worked with very closely wants to continue our project with the next semester with GameLab Oost again. So today we are really excited to present to you our game Viral Impact. And before we explain all the details, we want to show you how the game actually begins. Because we don't want to throw the player immediately into the game, we first want to introduce you a bit of a backstory in a comic style video. So let's take a look. Yes. So, for this game, we have worked together with Serelo, of course. Oh, technical difficulties, always. Yes. So, for this game, we have worked together closely together with Serelo. Serelo is a Dutch organization that helps people with intellectual disabilities of all ages. And they do this by providing many types of support, such as a place to live, activities, treatments, or supported homes or housing. And they assist people both for short periods of time, but also for their whole lives. And they have locations all over the Netherlands, but we have specifically worked together with a location in Apeldoorn. And basically what Sinalo tries to do is they try as hard as possible to give the residents best possible quality of life. In these pictures you see here, these are actual pictures of the residents in Apeldoorn. And the picture on the left is also where part of our target audience lives. So, about our target audience. Our target audience are people with a mild intellectual disability of ages 12 to 30 years old. And the thing is, they're really not so different from us. The main differences are that they have a lower mental and emotional age, with a mental age of around 9 years old and even an emotional age of around 3 years old. And the thing is that you need a certain mental and emotional level to handle things like online miscommunication. Otherwise, it's easy to get upset, confused, and this can lead to problems. So why the need for this game? So people with a mild intellectual disability often find it hard to step away from frustrating situations they encounter online because of their lower emotional and mental age. For example, one negative assumption can trigger a whole downwards emotional spiral, making it difficult for them to calm down or think clearly. And this emotional buildup can lead to serious misunderstandings and strong reactions. We've even heard from caregivers that they've gotten into physical fights because of these reactions. And this really shows the severity of the situation. And because of these risks, some of these residents are not even allowed to have their own phones because managing online communication is too challenging without some support. There is not really a solution for this yet, so that's where our game comes in. So for this game we have of course cooperated closely, first of all with Sinrelo, where we had with who we had weekly online meetings with our main contact there, but also with caregivers and even behavioral scientists who gave us actual clear examples of the daily challenges these residents face. And of course, most importantly, we've worked closely together with our actual target audience, with who we have tested with, and who gave us good feedback for our final products, of course. And most, of course, our own team at Game Lab, who brought all of these insights together to create our final game that truly fits our target audience's needs.
So the way we did this is by making a serious game or a game that's meant to be for learning. The main difference between normal games and these types of games is that they combine, they're not just entertaining, they combine the fun aspect of a video game with the learning aspect of trying to learn something. It basically, people can practice their skills in a more familiar environment. Combines the fun with the learning aspect. That also ties up very well with our research because we did it in 3 branches into other games in the industry. You've seen in the previous slide games like Minecraft Education Edition, You have seen Flight Simulator, where people actually try that game first before they actually learn how to fly planes. Even Dumb Ways to Die was a really important game for our research, because it is talking about safety around train tracks, and it's bringing awareness to that. We also did research into our target audience because we wanted to understand them better. We wanted to know how to make the game for them that's not derogative, or we wanted to make something that they would enjoy as well. And finally, we did some research into the industry, which is mainly CRLO, and what other projects they've had, how they handle things in the past, and how better we can also do that as well.
So after doing some research, we actually came to a clear goal for our project specifically, which is to teach people how to react to frustrating situations when using online communication. And this goal we have divided in 3 steps, with 1 being making them aware of the situation, 2 being making them recognize in the moment when frustrations arise, and 3, if a situation like this arises, to seek help from the caregivers, because there are so many caregivers at CRLO that are happy to help, but we just need to encourage them and give them the confidence to actually go ask for help. And this game is also playable alone, because we also want to teach these people to use social media independently. So one of the most crucial parts of the development was actually to get to know our target audience and actually visit them. And this was also a whole new experience, not only to them, but also to us. So at first, to kind of get to know them and have a good first start, we wanted to do a art test first, because visuals are fun and not too demanding. So it was mostly like a light, a creative way to get the residents involved. And on the picture on the left, you can see the visuals we had, and we have had these printed and cut out on paper, so that they could actually also keep some pictures as a fun little memory, basically. And also, this was all about human-centered design, because this was not only to test art, it was also to test how can we get the most valuable feedback out of these visits, and how can we make it also fun to them. And honestly, what was really surprising to us, because that's also very new to us, was how just calm, warm, and home-like the residents felt. For example, the picture on the right is a actual picture of the basically the living room at the residence. We've tested that. And we've also played games with the residents, which was also really fun. And this also was really important, because it showed us that we basically have no restrictions in making a game, because they basically like games that we play as well. And they're also really good at games, because we've lost multiple times, which is really funny. So, about the art development. Actually, at first, we were thinking about using aliens in our game, because we thought aliens, being from another world, could reflect how confusing and unfamiliar the online environment can feel. And you can also not easily see aliens' emotions, because we don't know them. So, and it's also hard to read emotions through online text, because there's no tone of voice or facial expressions through text. So this was basically a creative way to show how confusing online communication can be. But we actually got some feedback from the caregivers that this concept might be too abstract, and that the residents won't be able to sympathize with these creatures, because they are not human. So after that, we experimented more with human designs and art styles, until eventually, with all the tests we did and all the research we did, we set on this art style, which is also our main character of our game. So a bit more about the early art development. In these 2 pictures, you can see 2 really early concepts, where we explored 2 main different directions, with the one on the left being more of an alien mini-game type concept, and the one on the right being more of a top-down concept, where the areas represent a social media platform, in this case YouTube. Here we were still figuring out what would fit best to get our goal across. And second, we also experimented with more intense and slightly creepy visuals even, just to test the limits and how we can visually and emotionally impact with art. Then here you can see some really early prototypes already made in in-game engine. This was basically to get the feel of it, test the feel of it, and also to see how it would work to use 2D sprites in a 3D world. Until eventually our final art style, which perfectly fits our target audience. As you can see, it's really cartoony, expressive, and fun looking. We wanted it to feel adventurous and full of energy, and we absolutely wanted to avoid a too serious, lonely, or empty feeling.
Right. So in the meantime, we were working again on the concepts. In the beginning, we had a lot of ideas. We knew from our research that we wanted to do something that had a lot of repetition because that helps to change your behavior. We knew we wanted to have dialogue because of the social aspect of the game. So we came up with a lot of ideas. At first, we were looking at mini games a lot that help with the repetition and trying to put dialogue in it. But that was kind of rough. Then we wanted to look at ways to introduce dialogue in a fun way. So we looked at maybe using pictures or emojis for that. But that also felt a little bit confusing and not quite right. We did a lot of testing, and finally we came up with the final concept that is a roguelike, in which you basically start playing the game, and then the game is designed in such a way that you're bound to die or lose, and then you kind of lose everything and you have to do it all over again. That implies the repetition that we needed for the behavioral change, and yeah, the concept was to just learn by losing and by repeating. The loop of our game, for example, is that you go around fighting enemies in a room, and once you defeat all the enemies, a person pops up, like kind of they're hiding from these enemies, and then you can talk to them. We have a very interesting dialogue system, after which, if you do it correctly and don't get the other person angry or mad, they will give you a reward which is going to help you in the combat. So there's another loop that happens inside the game as well. Our main inspiration for this, both art style and some game mechanics, were Cult of the Lamb and Hades. They're also considered the roguelikes in the industry. And to kind of combine this idea with social media, we decided to use environments that are inspired by social media apps. At first we started with YouTube, but then we realized that's not, it is social, but it's more for video sharing and not for talking. So then we switched to WhatsApp and Instagram, which are already in the game already, with the ability to further develop it into levels that are inspired by TikTok or Snapchat or even Facebook and Reddit. The first mechanic, the combat, basically in the beginning it was very bare bones, very basic, just to get the point across, see if it was too hard, if people understood it, if our target audience understood it, understand what they needed to do, and they mostly did. Then that also developed obviously into more polished version of it with a lot more feedback from the player's health to some little animations when you're attacking and taking damage. With our final version that has a lot of more visual feedback and audio feedback as well. That ties in very well with the upgrade system. As I said in the beginning, it's a roguelike, so when you die you lose everything. But that's not quite true. You don't lose everything, not everything. You keep a certain currency that you can use in like your main area where you can purchase some upgrades. So this way the players feel like even though they died really soon or like they felt like they lost, they still have something to look forward to, right? So they have this system that ties in well. Then the next part is the dialogue. We did a lot of research because we wanted to have the fun part of the combat, but we also wanted to be we also wanted the dialogue to be fun as well. So we looked at the way a lot of the different games and a lot of different systems and how they do dialogue properly. A lot of ideas came up. For example, locking some of the options when you're responding to somebody having different options and one of them being locked behind something. We also looked at one of the games we looked at is basically your response is separated into parts, and then you kind of choose which one you wanna send, kind of building your own sentence. And that's the one we chose for our game because it really envelops the idea that certain messages can seem okay, but they might not be right in the situation. So for example, giving somebody a message like, hey, where are you? Or hey, where have you been? It already feels different. So that's kind of what we wanted to do with this system, where they basically have two columns and they choose one option from the first column, a second option from the second column, and kind of mix and match and then send the response forward. Obviously, this was just first iterations that changed into more colors, better visuals to show better feedback to the players, even more improvements to make it even more clear, and to have a sort of a place where they can see their previous messages so that they can look back at it. And then with the final one that kind of has the two people that talk to, so your character and the person you talk to, because this way we also could show some visual feedback on the characters, so if you make them angry or sad, they can show some emotions for that.
So we've done, of course, a lot more testing to gather a lot more feedback. And actually, at first, before the actual target audience played our game, we tested it out with the caregivers first, actually. And they, at first, had some concerns that this game might be way too complicated for the residents to understand. But once we actually tested it with our target audience, they played it like they've played it 100 times before, which really showed us that our project fits the target audience, which is a great result, of course. And one of the caregivers even mentioned that he didn't want to stop playing, which is awesome. And actually, in the slide after this, I will show you a video that was actually made at the residence of a client playing. And in this video, you will see that he is really fast, which means that he has gathered a lot of upgrades. And to get an upgrade in our game, you need to do the dialogue right. And this means that the behavior changing part has been done, which is amazing to see. So let's take a look. Here you can see him doing the dialogue parts at first. And then he can just dash all the way to the other side of the map, which you can only do if you've gathered a lot of upgrades, which is great to see. And yeah, now that you've seen some real gameplay from one of the residents, we'd like to show you the official game trailer of our game. So to close it off, again, we are really happy to announce that and proud to share that our client we've worked with closely wants to continue our project beyond our work. And this really shows us that they see the value and potential impact our game can have. And we are also at the same time looking for a partner who can help us bring our game to the market so it can actually reach the people that might be able to benefit from this. So in the past few weeks, we've been mostly working on making sure that the next team will be able to pick off as smoothly as possible from where we left off. So we try to make sure that nothing gets lost and that our vision stays strong going forward. And what you can expect in the future in this game is adding more content basically. So what you can expect are more areas, more dialogue options, and more character customization. So basically more things that would make the game more fun, but also more educational. So that brings us to the end of our journey, and we are really happy of what we have created, and we've loved working on this project. And if there are any questions, please feel free to ask, and thank you so much for listening.
And again, if there are any questions, this group will be here the whole afternoon. Their games can be played also over there. We at GameLab are so very proud of the last group we had. They again raised the bar with the level of the games they made and how it looks. So thank you all for participating here. Thank you for the presentation.
There were some questions from people watching the stream.
Oh, yeah, that's in. Yeah, we also have a live Twitch stream right now. You have the questions? Yeah, maybe you want to come up here. Maybe the teams want to come up here for the questions. Then I will make some room.
So the first question was about the dialogue system choices. They basically wanted to know what was your guys' focus when designing the dialogue. Was it to try and mimic a real conversation, or was it more to try and teach the nuances of the conversation system?
The most important for us was that it was not about what they say, but how they say it. In general, it is of course about online communication, which means that you can't hear the nuance in someone's voice. So to have those nuances only on the text and figuring out how to respond properly that you don't make someone angry or cause a misunderstanding was the primary focus of the dialogue system. That's also why we have it split into 2 sections, so that you really can focus on how to say something instead of what you say.
Thanks. The second question, wait, we're not done yet. One of the watchers also wanted to know if you try to teach your target audience something like sarcasm or those types of nuances in conversation.
Basically, yes. However, we haven't had enough time to fully implement it. So in future development, that is one of the main things that will be added, together with things like scamming or group pressure. A lot of think of an online communication that you can walk into that can be a little bit problematic even for you guys. That will be the main focus of the next group to improve and continue on.
Thanks. That's all the questions that we got from the stream. Thanks.
Thank you, Max and Wouter, for answering these kind of questions on the spot. I wouldn't have said it any better myself, so thank you. This will come to the conclusion of all the presentations and the journey we had for the past 5 months. We've set down some drinks over there. So thank you for being here. Thank you for all coming, and enjoy the drinks. Have a nice afternoon and a nice evening.